quite what we thought they'd be, so we make small adjustments. We're really just sort of committed to making sure that it's doable, it's fun. The hard modes are hard for the players that want to do the hard modes, and the normal modes are there for everyone to do so they can see all the cool content.
I think it's important to note that the hard modes, the way they work now, definitely aren't set in stone. It's definitely a little bit of a moving target. I think you've seen us try a couple of different things with hard modes, and we definitely want to find the one that works best. Just because we might have had one way that they worked before doesn't mean we won't try to change them and make sure that they fit the way we want them to work.
Yes, hi. I'm currently in Cuties Only, ranked 3rd US, 11th world. I had a question regarding like attunement quest lines, and if there's any plan to bring those back similar to the original Onyxia quest line for attunement, or even like BT High Jaw quest lines.
It's a possibility. It's something we occasionally talk about when we bring up a new raid dungeon. For the most part, we've sort of gone more towards the let's let people see content. But then if it's the right place and the right time, you might see something like Crusaders Coliseum, where bosses unlock every week. We've got there's various mechanics we can use, whether it's an attunement quest and so forth. Really, it just comes down to what's right at the time. And we have sort of gone more towards the let people see the content as soon as possible. Because we know people play with a lot of alts. You know, it's cool the first time, but maybe it's not cool the second, the third, the fourth time. So that's sort of where we are with attunements these days.
Hi. With the story of Arthas finally coming to a close, are we going to be treated any sort of special cinematic when he's defeated? Because he deserves so much more than the typical beat him, he falls on the ground, says a couple lines. Is there anything special that you have planned? 100%.
Yes.
It's going, I mean, it's, when Metzen was up here earlier, I think he kind of tried to prelude to it a little bit. It's going to be awesome. I think there's no way that you guys are going to be disappointed. We put a lot of work into sealing up the storylines that are happened across Icecrown, and you're definitely going to see that when you play through the raid.
How extensive is your internal raid testing? And did anybody internally kill Yogg 0 pre-nerf? And what type of challenges are the Coliseum hard modes going to be presenting compared to Old War hard modes?
Sure. For the 10-player instances, we actually we round up designers to do that, just like I was talking about how we have, like, the encounter team is 5 people, so we do all the dungeons. We actually try to do the 10-player raids as well. We grab people like Corey, other leads, other hardcore raiders to try to get their opinions on it. For 25 players, it's hard to get 25 designers together, but QA does actually do all those raids. They also do the 10-player raids as well. It's pretty much so impossible for a group of QA to reach to the overall skill and coordination level of the best guilds in the world. So no, QA didn't do Yogg 0. They got spanked pretty hard by Yogg +4 even for a while. But the feedback is still, we actually sort of treat QA as more like not a top-notch guild, but their feedback is important because there are guilds who have the skill level of around our QA. So when it comes to the harder stuff, that's where we try to rely a little bit more on PTR. There is, of course, bug testing that goes on with that to make sure it all works. But then to answer the second question, as far as hard modes for the Crusaders Coliseum, I don't think you'll see those to be as hard as the hardest Old War ones. Something we sort of started to realize about just player skill in general is that there's this huge spectrum of skill. You've got the very best guilds in the world where Yogg +0 really pushed them. Memoron before some of the nerfs with Firefighter. But there are a lot of people that want to do hard modes and probably could do hard modes. They were able to do hard modes in the beginning of the instance. They want to do that stuff hard. They want to feel good. They think they're, really good. So we're probably not going to do it quite so hard as Yogg 0 anymore. We'll push it back. But there'll still be a huge leap up from the normal modes.
All right, we have about 5 more minutes left.
Shout out to JetX of Impossibilium and Thorium Brotherhood. My question is, you mentioned that we'll be going to Vashir, and there are 2 dungeons there. Are there any plans right now to expand to Nazjatar or see an Azshar encounter, or will that be farther in the future?
Yeah, currently there's no plans to go to Nazjatar for this expansion. I think storyline-wise, you're going to hear more about that, though, throughout the through playing through the Sunken City storylines, as well as the quest lines that will be in the Abyssal Maw dungeons. You'll definitely learn more about that, but that content doesn't necessarily fit exactly what we're doing there right now.
I'm a really big fan of the dragon fights, and it seems you guys are too. Our guild actually serves Alexstrasza, so when she showed up in Wrath, it was a big deal. Malagos fight was a big deal. I'm curious if Sartharion is getting lonely in Wormrest Temple.
We'll see.
Possibly.
Hello guys, I have a question about you bringing back all raids and dungeons, like you brought back Annexia, and introduced the new items, the old items that you upgraded. Is there a possibility that with the old raids, hard modes might reward you with the old tier 2, tier 1, maybe dungeon set 1, dungeon set 2 looking PCs, like that?
Something that's come up. You know, we've talked about it. I think it just comes down to what we think would be most valuable to the players. Is it worth the time to go back necessarily to AQ, for instance, and convert it to a 1025 and all the loot? Maybe one day it would be, but I just think for us it didn't necessarily fit what we wanted to do for this expansion right now. But I think that's never out of the question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's open.
All right, I think that's all the time we have. Sorry, guys.
So close.
Please, I know.
It's so
Please
far.
thank our panelists, and also join us in this hall for StarCraft 2 lore, and in
Thanks,
the next
guys, for
hall,
coming to
Hall
Blizzcon.
C, for the World of Warcraft class panel.
Whee!